Well, good morning. See if I can adjust this camera a little bit. Looking a little rough today. How you guys doing? You all had a great weekend. Thanksgiving holiday coming up. And I'm on the drive. I haven't done one of these in a while because I have been taking the train into the studio on Mondays. Number one, because it's actually faster on most days than driving in Los Angeles. And number two, it allows me to get a lot of stuff done while I'm on the trip because I'm not driving. It's the next best thing to having a driver. Granted, a distant second. But anyway, I wanted to, since I'm doing the drive-in today, I actually, last night I had a dinner party at my apartment for friends and friends of friends and stuff, just having people come over and just enjoying a kind of a Friendsgiving. We made a turkey, and it was great. I had a great time. And one of the women who was there was she's a chiropractor here in Los Angeles, and we started having a conversation, and she started asking me questions because she apparently knew what I did. And so she was asking me questions about how I work with clients, and she's relatively new, although already seeing some success. And she has one of the common misconceptions that virtually all business owners have, and it's keeping her from making the kind of money that she could be making. And it's this. People do not buy for the reasons that you think they buy. See, we would like to believe, and she wholeheartedly agreed with me when I said this, that if we just provide a superior product, and if we are so much better than the other people in our industry that we're competing with in the market, that things will work out and people will come to us, and we'll make more money. We'll absorb more market share. And that is 100% not the reason people buy from you. It's not why they come to you. It's not why they keep coming back to you. They may for some period of time believe or say that you are the best, but oftentimes the reason that they say that is because we have conditioned them to believe that. Okay? The real reason, and the reason that they don't do this, and again, we would absolutely love it if they did. The reason that they don't is because they can't evaluate how good you are relative to somebody else. You know, the truth is, we have a tough time evaluating virtually everything. We base almost everything we do, what we pay for things, what we believe is good, off of what other people think, or off of what we've been told or what we've been conditioned to believe. And it's not possible, especially in an industry like chiropractic, for your client to know whether or not you are really 10 times, 20 times better than the guy down the street. The truth is, you go in there, you get adjusted, you feel pretty good about it, and you feel better when you leave. And so the question is, why do some chiropractors build market share and others don't? And again, it doesn't have to be chiropractors. This could be any industry. Okay? And what I tried to explain to her last night is it's you. It's what you do. You are the difference. People come to you and trust you. They think you are better than everybody else because at the end of the day, they really like you. They like the experience when they show up at your office. They like the way that the hostess greets them when they walk in. Call them a secretary if you want to. They like the way they're handled through the process when they're at your chiropractic studio or office. And more importantly, is at the end of the day, they know, like, and trust you. And so we talked about a bunch of different stuff with her business that's going to help her grow, but more importantly is going to help her to charge more than anybody else in her industry, while at the same time taking more and more market share. I have seen this work so many times that to me it's just it's silly not to believe it. But what I find time and time again when I talk with clients initially is I have to kind of soft sell this idea. I have to really work them out of their own headspace, because what's limiting most of them, and what's likely limiting you, are your own beliefs about, oh, you can't charge that in my industry. Oh, no one will pay that in my industry. Oh, maybe for you, Jason, but in my business. And then they go on to tell me all the reasons why it won't work, until I show them, several different places where it does work repeatedly, and in their industry, by the way. And so one of the things that I was trying to convince her of is to sell year-long packages. I wasn't trying to convince her. What I was really trying to do was open her mind up to the idea that she could be doing some of these other things. And so I said, but well, hang on. I said, are you selling packages? She's like, oh, yes, I sell 3-month packages. And I said, why don't you sell year packages? Year-long packages. Come as often as you want. Figure out whatever the cost is and what it would take, and then charge them $10,000 or $20,000 for a yearly package to as many visits as you want. And she goes, well, nobody in my industry does that. I don't see anybody else doing it in more than 3-month chunks. And what she didn't realize was she was doing the exact thing that I was talking about. She was basing what she believed she could sell based off of what everybody else was selling. Well, nobody else sells year-long packages. Well, I know, but why not? Why wouldn't you? I mean, let's see if you can get 10 clients to pay you $20,000 a year for unlimited visits. Have them pay it the first of the year. They get it all year long, and you got 10 clients making, $200,000 a year, and you got 10 clients, and they already paid. I said, even if you get 3 of them, who cares? The notion that I don't think people will pay that before you've actually asked them to pay it is really a very self-limiting belief that we all have in every industry. I want to pretend like this woman is any different than anybody else, because we're all doing that in our own businesses. And so, without even realizing it, she was limiting herself and basing what she charged for her services and the way that she packaged her services based on what everybody else was charging and packaging. And so what I wanted to try and do was get her out of this headspace that I have to think and be like everybody else. Because if you want a business that is better than everybody else's, if you want a truly unique and special business, you got to do what other people are not doing. I mean, you think about it like this. She said, I don't think anybody would pay $20,000 for a year of chiropractic services. I'm like, are you kidding me? We live in Los Angeles. They have the biggest, most pretentious group of people that you can possibly assemble in one place. And they all have a massive amount of money. And they all spend it on the stupidest shit possible. You're telling me that this same person who's spending $10,000 a year on dog clothes wouldn't spend $20,000 a year to come see you? That's spending $50,000 on plastic surgery wouldn't spend $20,000 to feel better and look better with their, in terms of their chiropractic health. Once you start to explain it to people like that, they're like, oh, well, you know what? That's probably true. And then you show them some models, especially in chiropractic. You show them some models where this same thing is working in Beluga, Mississippi. And you're like, look, if it's working in Mississippi, if it's working in the Deep South, you don't think it would work in Los Angeles. And you start to get people out of their headspace and out of their own way and give them permission to charge more. You see, that's another thing, is that people don't really believe that they're worth that. They say, well, I mean, normally everybody charges $60 or $80 a visit, so how could I charge $250? I mean, why would anybody pay that? Well, you're not worth it? You're not worth $250 an hour? I mean, how many patients do you want to have that are paying you? Would you rather, look at it this way, would you rather have 10 patients paying you $20,000 a year, or would you rather have 150 patients that you now have to manage paying you, a significant amount less and having that money trickle in over time? So anyway, I want to talk. My whole point of this video today is to explain the way you charge more for what you do and get more market share at the same time is by constantly, diligently, and deliberately crafting a brand that tells everybody and lays down an expectation that you are the best. Because they do not have any other way to manage that. They can't quantify it. They don't have the experience. They didn't go to school for years to learn what you do. They didn't. Whatever you are doing currently, whatever expertise you have that you're selling to somebody else, they don't have the expertise to qualify it. I'll give you here's another example. Is they're like, oh, I don't feel like I could charge. Who am I to be giving advice to this other person? Okay, so, okay, my friend Val is watching this right now. What's up, buddy? Val is a really, really incredible jiu-jitsu practitioner in Kansas City. Okay, now anybody coming in there trying to figure out whether or not Val's the right guy to teach them or not, they don't have the qualifications to make that determination. They don't have the years of experience that Val has. They don't have the knowledge. They don't have the resources to really know whether or not he's the right guy. But what they do know is they know how they feel. They know the experience that they have. They know the connection that they have with Val when they walk through the door. You know, at the studio that Val teaches at, they spend a massive amount of time building relationship, building this sense of family inside of their school, so that everybody who goes there feels like they're seeing friends every single day. It's part of what has made that particular studio so successful in Kansas, in Olathe, Kansas, of all places. So people don't have the ability to qualify your skill set. So you have to tell them. And if you don't, and if you're not constantly telling them and showing them and demonstrating to them that you are worth more, then they're never going to pay more. And so if you want to do it and do it the right way, consistently and deliberately build your own value by crafting a message that says, I'm important. I'm worth listening to. I'm worth paying attention to. And the fact is, there are a lot of people in this world that make a lot less money than me that I pay a lot of money to. For example, I just took my car into the shop, $4,000, okay, to get the transmission service, all this other stuff done. Something was leaking. Now, $4,000 I just paid my auto mechanic. Now, my auto mechanic makes a lot less money than me. Guaranteed he makes a lot less money than me. And yet, I go to him and trust him implicitly. If he says it's going to cost you $4,000, I pay the money. I don't question. I don't go out and try and look for somebody else that might be able to do the work cheaper. Why? Because I already know, like, and trust this guy. This guy has already demonstrated time and time again, not only does he know what he's doing, but that he's also trying to save me money every way possible. That's the really incredible thing about building a strong brand, is you don't have to be richer, you don't have to be more successful, you just have to be more knowledgeable in one area than the guy you're taking money from. And you've got to convince him over time that you're the only guy he ought to be doing business with. And if you can do that, there is no amount of money that will be too much in order for them to come and work with you. So anyway, that's how you make more money and charge more for what you do. That's how you grow a business and scale a business, especially one where, like in chiropractic, where you're really limited. You are in a largely a time for dollars business unless you change the business, okay? And that's a discussion for another day. But eventually, you're going to have to change your business model if you want to make big money in something like chiropractic, because it doesn't lend itself to that. You make a good living as a chiropractor, just like as a doctor, but you'll never make big money doing it. So, again, conversation for another day. So I hope that was helpful to you. I hope you enjoyed that, and I don't know, let me know in the comments what you think. Appreciate you all listening. Talk soon.